seen a lot of familiar faces out there. Z, Renner, Dow, everybody, Gauchi. Wow, truly an honor. First, want to thank and congratulate all the student athletes and their families. What an accomplishment. Like Coach Bowen said, incredible year in terms of scholarly achievements and athletic achievements as well. You guys are extremely proud of, you should be extremely proud of that. First I ever made it was the first round of sectionals, so to even be talking about state finals, and that's pretty impressive. So, you know, I'm not standing up here because I had everything figured out when I was sitting where you guys were. I didn't know where life was going to take me. I didn't know all the challenges, failures, injuries, disappointments, opportunities that would come next. And you know, yeah, I was a part of the, I'm gonna be very humble and honest here. I went to Syracuse. I had a great time there. I did a lot of things on and off the field. But to be honest, I didn't think I'd be talking about my athletic career here. This may be shocking to some. The amount of official playing time I had at Syracuse was 39 minutes, 41 seconds. And you know, I was a goalie, so technically I had the best goals against record in Syracuse history. No goals allowed. But you know, there's a lot more to this story behind those 39 minutes. And no matter, you know, who I tell this story to, it always starts at Schuylerville, and that's something I'm really proud of. And so I'm going to share a little bit of this story. Not because my path is a path you need or should follow, but because the same lessons I took from Schuylerville and the foundation I built are the same lessons you all are learning right now as student athletes here, whether you realize it or not. So first one, discipline is more important than motivation. Took me a while to realize fully, but you know, everyone loves motivation. Motivation feels good, you're winning games, you know, you're the captain of the team, it's easy to work hard when you're excited and things are going well. But that comes and goes. Some days you're just locked in, other days you feel tired, you don't want to study, you don't want to practice, you don't want to get that extra lift in. But discipline to me is different, and discipline is doing what needs to be done when you don't feel like doing it. You know, when I was in high school, travel soccer, high school soccer, and baseball, sorry Coach Renner, I stopped playing in 10th grade. You know, a typical day would be like waking up at 7, going to school, doing school, high school practice, traveling an hour for travel soccer practice, getting home at 9, studying for an hour or 2, going to bed, doing that 4 times a week. And during the summer, you guys all sacrifice hangouts with your friends, birthday parties, family events, gatherings to try to better yourselves as athletes. And you know, for me, I had one goal in mind, you know, during those times where I thought I was missing out, and that was to become a Division I athlete. And so fast forward, high school freshman season, we're playing against Stillwater. You know, I was a goalie, but Gauchi just loved playing me in the field for some reason. And so I was dribbling down the field. This kid from Stillwater took me out behind and slid tackled me, took out my legs. I fell on my shoulder, dislocated it, surgery, 9 months of rehab. Fast forward to junior year, most important years for college recruiting. And luckily I kind of had an early recruitment process with Syracuse at the time. But junior year was that year you guys talked about, like in elementary school at Fort Marty, like, oh, we're playing with the same group of guys since we were 5 or 6. And then you get there and you're like, God, it's gonna be the best year yet. And first day of preseason, we're doing the shooting drill, and I actually was playing goalie at the time. I reached out to save it, landed on my arm, dislocated my shoulder. And just like that, junior year, done, over, didn't play at all. Needed a second surgery, out again for 8 to 9 months. You know, at that point, that was probably one of the hardest points for me in high school. In my head, and trying to be ready for college, I've already missed 9 months of development and training, and then you're gonna tack on another 9 months of that. So over a year of time where you could be training, practicing, getting better to try to prepare for college. I missed that. I was angry, I was mad, not motivated. Plenty of days where I didn't want to go to rehab, didn't want to go to the practices or games, and watch other people play the sport that I love so much. But discipline is what got me through all of that. I optimized the situation I was in. I worked hard, I studied really hard in school. I still went all the practices and games with my sling on the sideline. You know, I even started seeing a sports psychologist in high school to help me cope and adjust my mindset to make it through that period of time if I was going to want to continue to play at a high level. Just never lost sight of the goals. And one of the quotes I remember the most was, is Mr. Belton still teaching? He's a technology teacher, 7th grade. If you're faced with adversity or challenge, you must adjust, adapt, and overcome. And I honestly, like, I carry that quote, I carry that with residency when people are going through hard times as well, and I say that to myself whenever I'm faced with a challenge or situation. So now we're at Syracuse, freshman year. I get there, I'm shell-shocked. I'm a kid from a small town, Schuylerville, New York. No one's ever heard of it. And now I'm surrounded by international players. Two of my former teammates are playing in the World Cup. The other starting goalie that was there is playing professionally currently in the MSL and the MLS. So my freshman year I didn't play, and I'm thinking, man, I got to earn my spot because he's going and the spot's going to open. So what I did when I went there, I showed up early, I stayed late, I picked up the cones, I picked up the water cups, I gave my teammates water, I bagged the balls, I did all the extra lifts. I did a lot of work when no one was watching, all while taking 18 credits and being a pre-med student. I stayed disciplined, I didn't make excuses. Sophomore year came, and on the first day of preseason, I went down for a simple save, and my shoulder dislocated again. In that time, needed more complex surgery and a little more recovery. Knowing what I know now as an orthopedic surgery resident, I'm lucky I even returned to playing. And so once again, I found myself in this identity crisis. Who am I without my sport? And it's a hard question for many athletes, because you're an athlete, your identity and your sport is really tied. It's who you are as a person and what you do. You think about your stats, your playing time, how other people look at you. But when that gets taken away, you're forced to figure out who you are behind the jersey you're wearing. And something my parents always instilled at me was like, the phrase student athlete, the student always comes first. So at Syracuse, I kept that in mind. I redirected my energy that I was feeling, upset, mad, putting things off the field. Became president of our student athlete advisory committee, and I had the opportunity to represent Syracuse at NCAA meetings focused on student athlete mental health and welfare with other athletes all across the country. I helped initiate a food station, the Syracuse Athletic Department, for the student athletes. Now all these Division I schools have these big cafes and cafeterias, but we just had a little grab and go stand to start, and it's turned into something really big there. I worked with our athletic director to hire 2 full-time sports psychologists, and I brought mental health to the table at a large Division I school, and that service is still being provided today for the Syracuse student athletes. And then, finally, my senior year, I got my first start. We're playing Northwestern. And that morning, every time before a start, you'd always do a walkthrough. You'd go through set pieces. You'd practice corner kicks. And then, one of those times I was just passing and hitting some long balls, and I felt the pop in my hip. That whole morning and afternoon, I spent 2 to 3 hours stretching, hot tub, cold tub, doing whatever I could to get ready for the game. And then it came game time. I'm pumped up with adrenaline. And then guess what? 39th minute came. I made a 20-yard pass and felt the tearing sensation in my hip. I went down, couldn't lift my leg, couldn't even do a sit-up. Sustained a severe core muscle injury, and then had to have surgery by a specialist in Philadelphia. 4th surgery, 4th season-ending injury. And that's the story of where those 39 minutes and 41 seconds come from. I don't think about those minutes. I think what it took to earn those minutes. The rehab, the setbacks, loneliness, frustration, early mornings, late nights, figuring out who I am without this sport. I had the decision. I kept showing up every day when I had every reason to stop and quit. It's discipline is what carries you through those situations. So when you're not motivated, stay disciplined, and you'll get things done. Second, remember your roots and where you're coming from. Keeps you grounded and keeps you really humble. Many of you are going on to college, maybe to the military, you're starting a job, and maybe you guys haven't even figured it out yet. But wherever you go, whatever job interview, one of the first questions you're going to be asked is going to be, where are you from? I love it. I'm from Schuylerville, New York, and people are like, what's that? And I was like, well, let me tell you, because this place and the people in this room, everyone means something to me here. So when I think of Schuylerville, I think of teachers who remember your name, coaches who demanded more from you because they believed you were capable of more and pushing yourself, teammates and classmates who are my lifelong friends, families who showed up for each other, a community that made you feel a part of something bigger than yourself. During my senior year of high school, I came up with the idea for the first annual Kicking Out Cancer event after my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer that summer. We organized gift baskets, raffles, a halftime walk around the field, to honor cancer survivors and loved ones we lost. My mom's a cancer survivor. She's here with me tonight. I'm incredibly grateful for that. And I'd also like to take a moment to remember and honor the lives of Parker Hayes and Miss Beth Roberts. Mr. Hayes was my AP calculus teacher. I had a great relationship with him. His son Parker was 13 years old when he passed away from metastatic Ewing sarcoma, and I was one of his students at the time. And we kind of did that event in honor of him too. And Miss Beth Roberts, one of a great mentor in high school, her along with Miss Light. I was lucky enough to get to know her, and I know she'd be very proud of all the athletic achievements and accomplishments you guys have made today. And I guess since Kicking Out Cancer started, raised over $75,000, and to me, like, that's the true essence of this place. A community coming together for a common cause, people showing up for each other, and you know, athletics is just more than games and scores and sectional titles. Again, it's about part of being something bigger than yourself. Last lesson or motto: small town, big goals. Okay, I got a letter my mom found. It's a letter I wrote to myself, actually. It's dated September 23rd, 2008. And it goes, "Dear future," I didn't write, we didn't have AI back then, so it says, "Dear future me, I have a ton of questions to ask you about life in this letter. Right now, I'm a student at Schuylerville Junior Senior High School. I'm 12 years old, and the year is currently 2008. I'm writing you this letter from school in room 222 down the 7th grade hallway. I hope you have accomplished all the goals, plans, and dreams you've ever had. Did you go to school to be an orthopedic surgeon? Since I went to my mom's work for home and careers, I've always wanted to be that. Hopefully, you also started your own business in England for sports injuries along the coast by the beach. So when you wake up every morning, you can take a walk on the beach. I hope you kept staying active. I want you to keep up with soccer and baseball all your life. Please listen to good music like rock or hip hop. Please don't listen to techno. It's the worst music I've ever heard. And again, I hope you accomplished all the goals and dreams I ever had or wanted. Live on the beach, start your own business, and oh, I almost forgot, keep up the sports. Sincerely, the old you." Now, having up my own business, I don't have that, and I listen to techno and EDM all the time. But when I read that letter, it reminds me of something. You can do whatever you want coming from this place. The people that support you and the community, it's incredible. Things aren't gonna go perfect. You're gonna fail, you're gonna face challenges, you're gonna be disappointed, heartbroken. You may even have to change your life plans at some point. But I hope all you guys keep going. When the motivation fades, the scoreboard's gonna be turned off at some point. You're all gonna hang up your uniforms and retire from your sport. But the habits you build, the relationships you form, and the character traits you develop here, they stay with you for the rest of your life. Thanks again for having me back home. And again, congratulations to all the student athletes in the